Hi, this is Brandon with Crypto Trades and Tech, and due to popular demand, I'm going to be doing an introduction video to crypto mining and discussing with you guys all the different options and how you can get paid in different cryptocurrencies for using your computer hardware to mine. So let's get started. Now here I've got pulled up a website, the Bitmain ant miners pulled up here. And the first thing I want to touch on is that to mine Bitcoin specifically, which is what a lot of people ask about, profitably, you need specialized hardware called ASICs. And these ASICs are purpose-built, or it actually stands for application-specific integrated circuits. So these are chips that are built dedicated for Bitcoin mining. And this is really the only way to mine Bitcoin profitably, as these chips consume far less power and produce a lot more hashing power for Bitcoin than can be done with your home computer. Check out, it's called whattomine.com. And here it's going to show you a list of all the most profitable mining algorithms and coins associated with them. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that mining is really a combination of trying to capitalize on a return on investment. So you have your capital expense, the cost of the equipment that you have to get started. You're going to want to get paid back on that. And it usually takes several months, sometimes up to a year, depending on the hardware, to get a return on that. Then you have your operational expense. The time and energy to maintain mining rigs, and electricity and cooling are the main costs long term. So what we have to do is we really have to do some calculation on what type of hardware you're looking at, the mining power it has, the power that's consumed by it, and so how much, and then figure out how much money you'll get paid out in cryptocurrency, and then the cost of the electricity, subtract that from it. So watch until the end of the video when we get into the hardware section, and I'm going to give you my recommended hardware. But let's just say that we have one 470 card on here. So you see that I put one 470 card on here, and it calculates the hash rate of a 470. You should be able to get a 19 mega hash on a 470 doing ETH hash or some of these other algorithms. Now if I go figure out the cost of my electricity, so say I pay 10 cents a kilowatt hour or 12 cents a kilowatt hour, and then we further calculate that, it gives us our profitability based on that electric cost. $1.23, so it's $1.58 in total profit, and then you take away electricity, $1.23 a day I can make on one of these video cards. Now if I had a mining rig with say 6 of these particular cards, I could get a lot more per day. And if I were to go up to, so you can get your profitability up to say $7 a day. Now the 470 is an older card, so let's say we had a rig with the most powerful card available currently, the 3080, and you had 8 of those, you could make $50 a day in mining. Now that's a very expensive card, and they're pretty much sold out everywhere on that. But I hope you get the idea. So you can use this website, What to Mine, to figure out what kind of hardware either you have or you're looking at, your electricity costs, and figure out your profitability per day. Now, another thing is, if you learn to trade like we do, I recommend that you join Jordan Lindsey's Conquer the Trading live streams at 8 a.m. in the morning to start learning a little bit about market activity. If you do join that with us there, you'll learn a lot about trading and when to buy and sell, which will help optimize your profits significantly, just knowing when to sell your coins that you've mined. So you mine them and hold them until it's time to sell. Now another thing I want to talk about is when you mine with your computer, you have the option to mine a specific coin, to join a mining pool that can mine whatever coin that it is you want to mine, or you can use a platform like NiceHash, which is what I recommend for beginners. So if you're just getting started and you want to get started with mining, I recommend that you just install NiceHash on whatever computer you have now and kind of just get started with that application just to get a feel for how everything works. Now the way NiceHash works is, you'll see in this What to Mine list, they're constantly in the top of the most profitable algorithms, because NiceHash is not specifically you mining coins directly. What it is, it's a marketplace, and people can buy hashing power. So you see here, people will go and they'll buy hashing power. Maybe they have a coin that they want to mine specifically, like Raven coin, for example, or some other coin that they want to mine. So what they can do is they can buy hashing power from the network, and they're paying you in Bitcoin to mine a coin for them. The application is handy if you do grow into and have a more mining pool where you have several mining machines. You can manage and see the status of those machines and even start and stop nodes from the mobile application. Now the mobile application isn't used for mining itself, it's used for managing your mining nodes. Now they have some profitability calculators as well. And here's some other things I wanted to show about NiceHash real fast. So here's the UI. So once you've installed the application here, you'll see that there's a very quick and easy, you can just click start mining and it uses everything in your computer. Whether, say in this example, they have 4 GPUs and 1 CPU. Click start mining and it starts mining with those. You can turn on and off specific devices. So you can say turn on or off your CPU, or on or off a specific graphics processing. So if you have a GPU that you don't want to be active in mining for power or heat reasons, or that's the one that you're using or you're gaming or whatever, you can turn off that GPU. Here there's a list of, it'll benchmark all your GPUs against all the available algorithms and it'll find the most profitable one for you. So it's a really nice and simple UI. It's a very easy way to get started with crypto mining. Now, as you expand, you can also continue to use NiceHash if you want, which is what I've done. I'm actually on NiceHash, and you can, all your mining rigs, you can run them off of a simple USB key, where you install a USB key, you set up this USB key, and you boot from your mining rig from this USB key, and it takes off and starts mining. But you can see here, this is how NiceHash works, right? So, NiceHash sends rented hash power to the pool, to a mining pool. Pool pays out the reward. A buyer then creates the orders and pays for the rented hash power. And then you get paid for providing that hash power. So marketplace, it kind of keeps you always on the most profitable area based on the market. Now let's take a look at their profitability calculator. What you do here is you can select your electricity cost. So say you're paying 13 cents a kilowatt hour. And you know, these AMP miners, these are the miners that we're talking about. These are the newest. The S19 Pro would be like one of the newer dedicated Bitcoin miners. So if you had one of these S19 Pros, you can see here an S19 Pro will produce $16 a day in profit at current Bitcoin prices. Now you're going to also, if you do get into the business of doing an ASIC miner, you're going to want to join a pool, because the odds that your one ASIC miner is going to actually mine a block is extremely rare, and you might go years without ever getting any Bitcoin. So you're definitely going to want to join a pool even if you do go down the ASIC route. But let's say you use your home computer and you optimize with some tips I'm going to give later on how to optimize your home computer for this. But say you have a very inexpensive and simple video card, the NVIDIA 1060. Very power effective. So you can produce $1.71 a day. Now this is getting to be a little bit older card. There's newer ones for sure, but this is a very cost-effective card, and you can produce $1.71 a day. Now that adds up quick, right? So that's $50 a month or so in mining revenue. And so if you spent a couple $100 on this card, you can imagine it would take a few months to get your return on investment. But especially if you learn how to get out at the right time and then keep mining through the ups and downs, but sell your coins, trade them, you know, or trade in and out of them at the right time, then it'll help you optimize your profits as well. Now you can also use a dedicated mining pool. So you can join a mining pool like ethermine.org right here. And how this works is that basically you install an application on your computer, like this ETH miner application, for example. So you would download and install this ETH miner application. Then you would set that application up to point to a local server. So say I wanted to point to US West, US2 ethermine.org. I would put in this information, and what I would do is for the username, I would set up an Ethereum wallet that I want to be paid in. So you have an Ethereum wallet somewhere that you've set up, whether it be a hardware wallet or whatever. There's a small fee for the mining pool, takes a fee up front for orchestrating all of this. But you get paid out as anybody in the pool, anybody else that's in the pool, if their machine is the one that actually mints a new block, then the pool splits that reward. Okay, so but it's a pretty simple setup, really. You just download and install this application, and you point it at one of these servers. You put your wallet address in. So now let's talk mining hardware. So something that if you have a desktop computer at home, there's a couple of things we need to know about. First, mining process is very power intensive and power hungry. So you're going to want to know the specs on your power supply on your computer and make sure that you have enough power to do this. The next thing is you need PCI Express slots available to put these higher end video cards in. Now, likely if you have a modern desktop computer, you have a reasonable CPU and probably a reasonable graphics processor. Hopefully you have a dedicated graphics processor. Integrated graphics processors are not going to be nearly as profitable at mining. You're going to want a dedicated graphics processor. And so what I have pulled up here is I've searched on Amazon for graphics cards. Now you'll notice, because this is getting to be a hot topic right now, a lot of cards are sold out, but there's still some decent cards that are decent for mining available here. So, but I just searched for graphics cards, and these are dedicated graphics cards that you can install onto your computer. Now, another note, as you scale up, when you build a dedicated mining rig, there's motherboards that have a large number of these PCI slots, and you can use what's called PCI riser cables to be able to mount the graphics card somewhere else and then plug into a motherboard, so you can have an array of mining cards. So I've gone ahead and pulled up here a mining rig that somebody is actually selling on eBay right now. So this is a 3-card, looks like it's AMD card mining rig. And you can see the riser cables are these ones down here that plug into the motherboard on the bottom, and then these cables run up top. So you can build a custom mining rig if you'd like. Now, again, what I would recommend that you do is you just install NiceHash today on your computer and just see what hardware you have, and then maybe start mining on just one of your graphics cards if you do have a dedicated graphics card, just to get the feel and understanding of how this all works. Now, as far as graphics cards, again, the ones I'll recommend are, I really like the 2700, the AMD 2700 right now. I think it's probably the most profitable, but I think it's almost sold out everywhere. So you're gonna have a hard time getting a hold of one of those. But you can see some of these cards, they're getting to be a little bit more expensive as we get into alt season here. One other caveat that you need to know about with the graphics hardware, and so looking at these, a lot of the cards that are available are these older generation AMDs, the 580s and 570s, and these are still viable for mining. They mine profitably. Two things. You're going to want to make sure that you get an 8GB card, because there's a lot of limited coins that you can mine with a 4GB card. Now you can, Ethereum Classic actually recently had their Thanos upgrade, they called it, which simplified the mining and reduced what's called the directed acyclic graph, so the DAG, and the memory space that's needed to build that to mine. So you can mine Ethereum Classic now with cards under 4GB. So if your current computer has a card that's not quite 4GB, you can still mine now Ethereum Classic at least. But 8GB cards are what you're going to want to be focusing on. And you can see here there's a 580. It's a pretty good card, still very profitable. Let's go look at our what to mine and just see what the current profitability of a 580 actually is. So I'm just going to put one 580 in here. I'm going to put a 12-cent cost for, so yeah, it's still producing $2 a day right now. And mining is very profitable right now because the gas fees are very high, and obviously the price of Ethereum has been skyrocketing. So that helps mining profits right now. So with that card, you can profit after paying electricity $2 a day. That's a good way to get started too, is to add an additional, if you have an extra PCIe slot in your computer, you can add an additional dedicated card or put a dedicated card in. Now again, be very wary of how much power these draw. You'll see this usually takes about 150 to 200 watts for a 580. So I just checked actually one of my live rigs that I have running a 580 in, and I'm using about 150 watts. Another thing about the 580s to keep in mind, the 470, if you can find a 470 or a 570 8GB card, I'd actually recommend that over a 580 because it takes less tuning. So the difference between the 470 and the 480 versus the 570 and 580 is it's actually the same chip. It's just the 570 and 580 was up volted. So it's just an increase in voltage. So it runs faster, it has a higher clock rate, but it also produces a lot more heat and consumes more power. And so in order to get the heat envelope back down to a reasonable level and the power consumption down to a reasonable level, it requires a lot of post-install tuning. So the 470s and 480s require a lot less tuning as they're lower voltage, and you get a little bit less profit because they're not running the same clock rate. But generally speaking, it's a good trade-off because the heat and power consumption of the 580s there isn't enough additional profit to really make sense of it. If you can find a 470 8GB. If you know someone that's selling them, maybe this is the time to snap them up. But they get even more rare. But yeah, like this 580, you can see there's only a few left in stock. Like this notice this 570 is only a 4 GB card. That's why it's a lot less expensive and still available. But this one here, this is one of the best cards. It looks like it's left available right now. Is this 580 8 GB? So another thing you can do is with Monero. Monero penalizes GPU miners. And so these graphics cards, these are graphics processing units, GPUs. So that's the most GPUs produce more hashing power than CPUs, generally speaking. However, the AMD Threadripper, which is just a monster 32 core or 16 core, 32 core processor, produces a lot of hashing rate, even though it's not a GPU. And you can mine Monero with it pretty profitably. Now, Monero has been going down in price recently because of some regulation FUD. I expect it to bounce back. But with Monero penalizes, and there's other coins that follow followed Monero's lead here. Monero penalizes GPU miners. So you can still mine Monero with the GPU, but it's slow. CPUs are actually more efficient, especially Threadrippers. So a Threadripper, you can see the cost of them. A high-end Threadripper is $2,700. But with, I think, a 3950, let's go look at the what to mine. And we can put in a 3950 in here. Actually, let's do NiceHash. NiceHash profitability calculator, you can put in a 3950. So if I put a 3950 Threadripper, AMD Risen 3950, right? That's this CPU right here, $700 right now. If I calculate based on 13 cents, you can produce 78 cents a day in profit mining. This is profitability after paying electricity. Now, a lot of CPUs are not profitable. They consume more power than they produce revenue. The Threadripper is still very profitable. So, if you want a really mean desktop home system or gaming system, you could build it with an AMD Threadripper and mine it when you're not using it, and pay over time, hopefully pay for a good portion of this chip. Now, this is not going to be the most return on investment friendly hardware to mine with, but it is viable if you do want to get into the game. And then maybe one of these more value ones like the 3900 12 core, if you keep looking at what you want to figure out is your return on investment given the cost of the chip and the power of electricity you have. Now, something to keep in mind is 2021, we're entering a very large bull market cycle for cryptocurrencies. So, if you start mining right now and you follow Jordan on Conquer Trading and Investing and get on his 8 a.m. live streams and sell when the rest of us are selling our cryptocurrencies, you're going to do probably pretty well because the price of cryptocurrencies should continue to go up for the majority of the year. So it's not a terrible time to at least get started with something small. Now, if your home computer has, say, a 400 watt or 500 watt power supply, you may be able to mine on one very power conservative graphics card, but you're not going to be able to mine on more than one. And especially a big power hungry graphics card you're going to struggle with. So you can also take a look at some of these power supplies. This is the simplest thing that you can do today to get started as well to ramp up your mining, is to get a really good power supply, like a 1200 watt right here power supply that's built for mining. Now this one maybe not so much, but this is a really good quality power supply that you can put a couple of cards under load with a power supply like that, or maybe even this. Be careful with the brand. You want to, the bigger brands are, you can tell by the reviews as well. I mean, read the reviews. This Thermaltake, I use Thermaltake power supplies and most of my gaming desktop computers just because they're very they're very cost effective. But this will give you the ability to run bigger power cards and more of them. And Amazon's saying that they recommend this very inexpensive 800 watts. So if you're really on a budget side, my budget recommendations would be like this 800 watt power supply and maybe a pair of NVIDIA 1060s. Let's look at the NVIDIA 1060 again, see if they're available. So that's for my recommendation today. If you're looking at getting started, a 1050 or a 1060. Let's see if there's even any 1060s available. Let's plug in a 1050 real fast. I seem to have some of those. Let's do NVIDIA 1060. 6 gigabyte. I specifically want the 6 gigabyte. Let's see if there's any of those in stock. Aha. We found a few right here. Here you go. This is a more expensive one because it's got some good fans on. Let's take a look at this one right here. So this is a 1660. Well, that's a little bit more powerful. Let's take a look at the mining profitability of like a 1660. I think it's a pretty power efficient graphics card still. Let's take a look at a 1660. Let's just look at the standard. I think it's the standard GTX 1660. Yes. Calculate. So that's going to produce $1.60 a day per 1660. Let's go see what other graphics cards are available. Now, I'm doing this live with you just because it's hard to find graphics cards right now. So AMD, the 2600. Let's see if the 2600s are available. XT. Not the GPU. Well, there's CPUs available. There doesn't seem many GPUs available. 8400, 570. Well, as you shop for this, I mean, the main thing is as you shop for cards, you can plug in your profitability calculator there, and as you find cards that come available, you can figure out what the best move is. But that 1660 card looks reasonable. AMD, and the 580s, I think, as I said earlier, maybe your best bet. This 580 for 329. Let's see here, AMD 580. Just one more time. A 580 produces 220 a day. So, you know, if you were to, hopefully you can get some cost-effective video cards, but if you want to be very, very cost-effective about it, you know, using your home computer, make sure you turn off the CPU mining, because most likely, unless you have a Threadripper, CPU mining is not going to be profitable. But if you have a video card like this, or if you want to get one or maybe two if you have room for it in your computer, like 580s or 1060s, and get you an upgraded power supply if that's necessary, that's the most cost-effective way to get started with crypto mining. That's what I kind of recommend people do. That way, you know, if all else fails and you find that it's not for you, at least you've upgraded your computer. You have an upgraded computer, especially if you're into gaming. Now, one thing I do want to say is very important. If you do end up with a either an AMD 400 or 500 series, you're going to want to make sure that you switch this from graphics to compute mode. So, if you leave it, if you just put it in your computer, or if you have an AMD, one of those AMD cards in your system today, and you just start mining with it, you're going to get about half the hash rate if you just do this one thing. Let's do this one thing here. You go to your AMD settings. So you open your AMD Radeon settings. And there's an application on your computer, and there's this. I'll put a link to this in the video below. All right, we'll put a link to this for you in here. If you follow these instructions, what you do is you're going to flip under your settings, global settings, GPU workload from graphics, switch it to compute, and this is going to basically double your hashing rate because it's going to optimize the card for GPU crypto mining. All right, so let's quickly review what we've discussed today. So first of all, profitable mining on Bitcoin requires dedicated hardware. If you want to get involved in that game and shop eBay for dedicated hardware, be sure to do your profitability calculator first and join a mining pool, because trying to mine by yourself is not going to be profitable. Secondly, be sure to check whattomine.com. Plug in what graphics card, if you're going to be doing GPU mining, that you're looking at, and your electricity cost to figure out the most profitable mining. Now, the easiest way to get started today is to download and install NiceHash, see what kind of hardware you have, run the benchmarks. It will tell you if mining is profitable or not on your machine. And even if mining is not highly profitable on your machine, at least you can actually just start mining with the hope that you're going to sell at a profitable level in the future. But that's up for you to decide. It's not financial advice. I'm just giving you some thoughts here. But you can see here in this, back to this graphic, under benchmark, they have one CPU in the system, an AMD Ryzen 1800X. You can enable or disable that, and they have multiple graphics cards they can enable or disable. When you install this application, you'll be able to see this on our devices. You'll be able to see your graphics card on all your devices, as well as under benchmark. And you can benchmark your system, and it'll tell you if no algorithms are profitable given, and you can plug in the cost of electricity here in this application. You can also join a pool and mine a dedicated cryptocurrency. So say you wanted to mine Ethereum or Zcash or Ethereum Classic or Beam or Raven, which are kind of the hot coins right now. You can, if you want to mine those specific coins because you have you like those projects, then feel free to join a pool, install the application, and follow the instructions here. I've got Flypool pulled up right now for like Raven coin. Ethermine.org is the place you can go to get started. It's all Bitfly. Hardware wise, it's getting hard on the graphics card. I recommend, if you can get one, an AMD 57 or 5600. Those are the most profitable cards right now. My 5700s are producing over 50 mega hash. They're producing like $5 a day, and I originally bought them for $400. Now they probably will go up. They probably are up in price, but when I bought mine, it was $400 and it's producing $4 a day. So that's a really good card if you can get a 5700 or 5600. Now, the other option is if you want to build a baller system and you want to mine with it when you're not using it, you can go the AMD Threadripper route, and you can build a system around this and do Monero mining with AMD Threadripper. And if you have some good gaming cards that you put in that system, obviously you can use those to mine. And for a lot of people, myself included, mining for a long time was just a way to recoup some of the costs of my really nice gaming rig. I've stepped it up, and I've got a little bit more mining because I'm into crypto trading personally. And then be sure to optimize your cards. You're going to want to do some research when you get your rig set up. If you're going to build your own rig, or if you're going to just add hardware to your current computer, still make sure that you go through the optimization steps for those rigs. The very first thing, if you're going to get started today and you install NiceHash, make sure that if you have an AMD card, you go in here and check and see if the setting is available for you to switch from graphics to compute. Now, some graphics cards, the newer ones, you don't need to do this, but the older ones you need to do this to tell the software to optimize that card for GPU mining. All right, well, I hope you guys found this rundown useful. This is again Brandon with Crypto Trades and Tech. If you find this content useful, please like and subscribe. I appreciate all the support. Have a great day.